Presenting to everybody on therapeutically designed role-playing games, TdRPGs, for therapists to enhance the social skills of players. I see some familiar faces in the crowd from our Mages panel that we're just coming off of. I am Daniel Rowan.
I'm Ginger Rowan. Yes, we're related.
And we are here to teach you a bunch of cool and awesome stuff. But first, a little bit more about myself. I'm a master's level clinician. I have a master's degree in clinical and counseling psychology, and I also have my behavior specialist license in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm also the lead game designer for S.N.A.P.S Heroes, makers of TdRPGs, and I'm committed to bringing amazing games to help kids and teens learn and grow. Also, fair point, people that went and saw the Mages presentation that we just did, that was rehashed almost verbatim from the Mages presentation. So, you know, that's going to happen. Next up.
Right. So mine's probably going to be pretty much the same. I'm Ginger Rowan. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a licensed behavior specialist in the state of Pennsylvania. I did wraparound therapy for 2 different agencies, working with kids and teens, often those who were on the spectrum, autism spectrum disorder. After 10 years, I started my own private practice, and parents came to me and said, there are very few social skills programs at this time in the area. Could you develop one? So I created a not-for-profit called Let's Go Play. It's a 501c3 corporation. And I studied with Dan Legoff, who is a neuropsychologist. He was based in Voorhees, New Jersey. And he was very generous with his time, and he's the guy who invented Lego team building. So I started doing Lego team building with our population, which was at the time mostly guys who were on the spectrum. After 4 years of doing this, I was teaching at a graduate program. I was teaching in their autism certificate program, and I was going with Dan and his older brother Drew up to their autism family fun night. And I said to them, could we please come up with something else instead of just building with Legos? So they created the S.N.A.P.S Heroes program that we are currently running at Let's Go Play. Originally it started for just guys who are on the spectrum, but it's really broadened now. And so now it's for kids, teens, and even adults with what we call social differences. That's me.
All right. And then next we are looking to define for you what is a therapeutically designed role-playing game.
And I came up with that idea. So a therapeutically designed role-playing game is a tool for you can read it, tool for therapists to enhance the social skills of players while addressing other therapeutic goals through gameplay. The difference is it is designed to be inherently therapeutic. Every mission is therapeutic. The guys also have particular goals within that mission that are also designed to be therapeutic.
And so those are met through what are known as in-game and specifically designed mechanics, which we will definitely go into further detail later on. But just so everyone here knows, the game exists in a tabletop format and in electronic format as well. We will be defining what social skills are and what therapeutic goals are more specifically later on in the presentation. But for now, we're going to jump in a little further into what a TdRPG, what a therapeutically designed role-playing game is.
Okay, so we originally started off doing this with just a therapist who was also the game master. And then we found that it was much more beneficial to have a separate game master. So the game master is a bachelor's level person, and the therapist obviously is a master's level or above. As I said before, each particular mission has a therapeutic goal. For example, communication, strategizing.
Attending.
Attending.
I'm paying attention.
Negotiating. All kinds of things that you would need to learn to do as a member of a team. So since we've been doing this for 6 years, I know you can guess that problems have come up. And so we devised specific interventions that are defined in the codex that we have that's aligned with our Heroes Boot Camp game. Go ahead, Dan.
Right. So to go a little further, there is no magic wand that is going to be applicable to all instances. The players that come to the table have a varying level of need, and they're working towards different things. So we couldn't just say, hey, you do this one thing, it's going to fix this, and it's really not about that anyway. But what we did do was provide guidelines for the therapeutic team in regards to interventions that they can employ. So those are broken down into the in-game and specifically designed mechanics I've referenced previously. In-game, just a quick review here so you guys know what that means as we're moving along. Those are immutable and those are inevitable. They're built into the game. They are included in every playthrough. They are things like the rules, the mission of the game itself, interactions with NPCs, monsters included in encounters. They are things that just come set and standard. Specifically designed are the extra things that the therapeutic team can incorporate into a session, into a mission in order to meet the therapeutic goals of a player. We have specific interventions outlined, suggestions and guidelines included in the Game Master's Manual. And we stress flexibility in this system because our players are so varied, their needs are so varied. You have to be able to accommodate both the varying needs of the player, but also their functional level. So I think you have a little comment on that.
So one of our youngest players started at 5, and we have players who are adults. So the 5-year-old's level and ability to play is much less than a teenager's. So we can make the game simpler, fewer rules, fewer choices for them to have, so that they're better able to manage the game.
Right. So essentially, as long as players can understand the concepts of move, attack, and talk, or communicate, it doesn't even have to be verbal talking, the game can still be run and benefits can be obtained by the players. However, that's for the lower functioning, move, attack, and talk. For individuals who are higher functioning, though, that's going to bore the heck out of them. So you can then begin to add additional systems in as players progress through the game. So it is both scalable and flexible. They move through missions, they unlock new actions, they unlock new things, and then if the therapeutic team believes the players are capable and ready, they can then incorporate those things into the game and play with those as well.
So could I just say one more thing, though, about the therapist and the game master? It's also really good for the guys who are playing to see 2 adults in a positive relationship with each other and having fun. I think there's great benefit in that.
It is very true. Okay, which brings us to us, S.N.A.P.S heroes.
Right, so as I said before, I had very big words in my head one day, and I came up with archetypal. So S.N.A.P stands for Special Needs Archetypal Program for Socialization. Dan has developed it so that it's over 100 missions with 13 chapters. So our introductory package is called our boot camp, and there are 8 missions with specific therapeutic goals like communication, problem solving, negotiation, and learning some of the game mechanics as well.
And yes, so we are running sessions of S.N.A.P.S Heroes at Let's Go Play Inc., which is our nonprofit located in Media, Pennsylvania. Just to piggyback a little bit more on the Heroes Bootcamp, it is an introductory kit, an introductory package, very much so in the sense... Hey! Very much so in the sense that when we're talking to a crowd of individuals at MAGFest, we understand that there's probably some inherent gamer knowledge, but when we are at conventions for therapists, they are probably not gamers. So the introductory is very introductory for individuals who are therapists that are looking to run these social skills classes. However, individuals who have a background in gaming and are also psychologists are going to fish in water, like very, very easily pick up on the game and the game mechanics. So that is for Heroes, which is for kids and teens. And Legends is the version of the game that is for 18 and older. It is currently in a playable beta that I am working on designing. Because it is very robust, it is very much as thorough as like D&D in regards to rules and how involved it is. Hopefully I will have that available soon, but that's kind of where that stands.
One of the big differences between the two is that no one dies in Heroes of Telluria. And that's because they're kids and teens, and they really don't like me for it, but that's my rule. They
want to blow every enemy's head off immediately.
Yeah. But but you can get knocked down and brought back.
Faint like in Pokemon. They just faint, you get knocked out.
Yeah, but that becomes an important element of the game.
Yes, which we will get to in just a little bit. Another thing to note is that, so it's special needs archetypal program. Special needs, because it was initially created for individuals with ASD, however, and as the autism spectrum. But what we realized is that, and Ms. Ginger was kind of talking about, social skills can apply even to neurotypical individuals. Some neurotypical individuals are better at it than others, and for those that aren't, they still need to learn and practice. And this is a medium that they can obtain that stuff.
And our ASD guys can have concomitant diagnoses, so they can have ADHD, or there's a lot of anxiety aligned with ASD. So some of our players now have things like social anxiety, and we make them talk to the NPCs.
Yes. It is a very powerful tool that is also in this presentation a little bit later on.
But we also have guys with behavioral diagnoses and physical diagnoses. So some of our guys, one of our guys had cerebral palsy, another hearing loss, speech and language difficulties, and behavioral things like oppositional defiant disorder or disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, those kinds of things. That's a new DSM-5 diagnosis. But we have guys that have behavioral problems as well.
Yep. Okay. That brings us to our next point, our definition here for you for what does it mean for something to be therapeutic. Ms. Ginger.
Okie dokes. So I can speak to this because I am a therapist. I admit I am not a gamer, but a therapist I am.
I am a gamer.
So what makes something therapeutic? The therapist needs to be genuine with the person. Their face and body have to match how they really are. They have to present themselves in alignment with the client or the player. It is very important to be non-judgmental. So as I said before, when people come to me, they'll say, oh, I'm afraid to tell you that because you might judge me. And my response to that is, and how would that help? So judgment is really not ever helpful. Being open to where the person is the most important thing. And then being empathetic. It's so important when I say to clients, you know what, I really understand where you're coming from. I get it, and I can describe it back to them. They know I hear them. They know I'm in the same place they're in. And that means that I can help them because I can have a different perspective. Yeah.
Cool. So essentially, the way to think about it is top level, something is therapeutic if it helps or heals an individual. Therapeutic change is when a therapist is involved with an individual or group therapy, individuals. And those are the three concepts that are believed to be required in order to enact positive therapeutic change, in order to have that health and that healing occur during sessions. So those are just things to keep in mind for everyone as we're moving along with this presentation and talking about therapy. And that brings us to the other concept that I wanted to discuss is psychology in gaming in general. And I will say a lot of these things on this list, as I was developing this presentation, I realized a lot of these things are involved with getting individuals to spend money or, yes, make monetary investments is a lot of the things. So I would assume that everyone in this room, or hopefully most people in this room, are familiar with the concept of microtransactions. Pay 99 cents, you get a loot box, you get maybe 4 skins, and wow, isn't that neat? That's super cool. But then if you spend $3, you can get 6 loot boxes. Or, you spend each individually for $4 and hey, you didn't get the thing you want, but you spend the lower amount and now you have all these loot boxes. Maybe you got that one cool thing you were looking for. So that actually preys off of the concept of the foot in the door concept. If you make any monetary investment, even if it's at a very low value, you are then much more likely to be willing to contribute at a higher level as requests are being made or those opportunities present themselves. So that is something people oftentimes aren't aware of that exists, and they're just spend. They also prey on limited time. Hey, this is only available for the next day, and isn't it super cool? And you want it, and and it's awesome. And then people feel the need. Oh man, I gotta have this. I gotta get this. And then they feel the need to spend that money. Reward systems too. So you can work for hours and hours and hours and build up your character, or spend $15 and you have everything unlocked, and then you're this really powerful character in the game. Players can buy improvements that can give them an edge in gameplay. So that feeds off of loss aversion. People don't like to lose, people want to win. So if I can buy a boost to my character that gives me 15% extra damage for 10 seconds and I hit that at a clutch moment and win, yeah, I'm going to buy that, yeah, for sure. And that is some of the psychology involved in those things.
And interestingly, there have been clinical studies done on that. Amazing.
Yeah. Yes, this is real. It is definitely real stuff that is going into gaming. And I will say, for our TdRPG, we're looking to make the world a better, happier, healthier place with our stuff. So it's not incorporating preying on the human psyche to do things, but so building online communities and a sense of belonging. That's a good thing, right? In an MMORPG, you can be a part of a guild. You can assemble a group of friends and form a team, or a group of strangers and become friends with them and form a team. So that really feeds off of like a need for belonging, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where people want to be validated. They want to feel connected to others in some way, shape, or form. And then last but not least is meeting needs. So it provides a meaningful activity to a lot of players. So like completing collections, giving players a competitive outlet that has them deal with both victory and defeat. The incorporation of such aspects has led to certain games becoming very popular, and I'm sure we could think of some collector games or competitive games that have become very popular. So, you know, the phrase is not got to catch some of them, it is got to catch them all. Got to catch them all. Yes, absolutely. You can't have just a few. Get every single one of them. And then like Overwatch or League of Legends, Apex Legends, there's so many competitive games out there as well.
Social skills. What are social skills? I like to say to people, you know, every little thing wants to be loved, right? Everyone wants to feel that they have a cohort, they have a group, they belong somewhere, that people like them and accept them for who they are.
So social skills are not just being able to talk to another person. Obviously, you guys can read the definition that we have put up there, but it is not just being able to converse with someone in a one-way direction. You also have to be able to understand and interpret what the other person is saying accurately. And it is both verbal things and nonverbal, body language, posture, arms crossed, a tight position, they're not very open to what you're saying, or someone who has a more open, body posture and maybe leaning forward is showing that they're interesting even without having said anything. And our game very much works to teach and impart knowledge in regards to those concepts through gameplay in and of itself. So
part of the issue with the ASD population is often they're really not that interested in belonging so much. They have a very, very rich inner world, and so stretching that out and being involved externally isn't always a preferred thing for them. However, what we have found is they want to win the game. So they are willing to talk to the other guys sitting around the table and figure out strategies and communicate. So that's the kernel. That's what draws them in, is they do want to win. And so we have one guy who comes in, he stims a lot and his behaviors are unusual, but he actually walked up to another kid and said, "Hi, my name's Jason," not his real name, "My name's Jason, what's yours?" And his father came to me and said, "I can't believe he just said that. I never thought I would hear him say that in my lifetime." So he's invested.
Right, and that investment, it serves to motivate them, and through playing the game, the therapeutic team has so many opportunities to transfer and impart skills to the players, to teach them coping strategies and coping mechanisms. So those social skills aspects are going on at all times. We actively encourage metagaming and players strategizing at the table based on what their player can do and what other players can do. It is a very powerful thing, and it is inherent in the gameplay in the game that we have designed. Therapeutic goals. As promised, we're defining these things.
What are therapeutic goals? So, people usually come to us because there is a deficit, right? They are struggling in certain areas. So we do have an intake form. We try to figure out what those issues are and how we can best address them in the game.
Yes. So those therapeutic goals are all of the things outside of social skills that an individual may be working on. They can be as numerous and as varied as the stars in the sky. There is, like I said earlier, there's no magic wand. There's no one thing that is going to be able to be employed that is going to work for every single person that plays the game. It might catch a lot in the net, but it's not going to get everybody. So that is why those specifically designed mechanics are incredibly important in the therapeutic team being able to incorporate to work towards the various therapeutic goals that exist. And when they come into play, I mean, again, there is no set specific time that, now we are working on your therapeutic goal. The individual could have a behavior, and that is then an opportunity for the therapist or the game master to address that and encourage maybe another player to intervene, and then that player is also working on their goal. So it is very much a system, and things very much go hand in hand. And it very much keeps the therapeutic team and the therapist on their toes. You are dancing the whole session, hour-long sessions, by the way.
No more than 6 players.
Yes, because we have found that 6 is about as much as I can manage, and I made the game, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I feel confident and comfortable doing that, but anything more, and it's like, oh man.
It's also, for a lot of our guys, it's hard for them to pay attention through 5 other players, right? So the way we work it is when you come to Let's Go Play, the first class is always free because we want you to like it. If you don't like it,
It's
then
not going to work.
it's not going to work. So no harm, no foul. But each player then becomes very invested in the game and is willing to work with the other players to win the level.
Yeah, because they're having fun while they're playing. It's at its core, it is an RPG. The therapy, oftentimes players aren't even aware that is happening or that's the reason why they're participating, which is kind of the
Correct.
genius of it. It's pretty cool.
Right.
But then you got some kids that are like, I know why I'm here. I know what I'm doing. And they're like, yeah, all right.
No, but really, they learn without knowing they're learning, which is the really wonderful thing about it.
Yes, and in our definitions, so if we're thinking of all these definitions we just gave in regards to therapy, helping healing an individual, therapeutic change, the 3 concepts of being genuine, non-judgmental, and empathetic, yes, as the second level there, then we're working our way down, and the therapeutic elements are the specific concepts that make up gameplay, as well as the mechanics involved in gameplay that can be used by the therapeutic team to enhance social skills or work on therapeutic goals. Those social skills and goals are going hand in hand, and the elements are what are used / included in the game that can accomplish enhancing those social skills and achieving therapeutic goals. We do have a bunch of examples of what we have incorporated in our game on the next slide. However, it is not everything, because in truth, these therapeutic elements are the small gears. Each one is a small gear, but they are all connected and they are all working together that forms this giant system where that therapeutic change is inevitable, where just by playing the game, you achieve the benefits for social skills and whatever goal at least is standard in the mission.
Can I just say one more thing?
You may
So
say
for
many more things.
A guy with social anxiety, he has to talk to the NPCs. That's what he is charged, his character is charged to do that. But prior to doing that, he has talked it over with the team, so he knows what he's supposed to say. Everybody's in agreement with what's supposed to go down. And he feels much more confident and comfortable now with saying whatever he needs to say.
And that player is under the persona of a mighty hero and knows that, right, all the rest of the players at the table are rooting for him and supporting him. So that is very powerful as well. Just a heads up, some of these therapeutic elements are indeed constant, and some undergo change and can be manipulated by the therapeutic team. but it all depends on what the needs are of the players. So let's take a look at what these therapeutic elements are that I really just pulled off the top of my head as I was setting up this presentation. I have many more in the notes here for this presentation, and we are not going to go through each one because we'd be here till tomorrow, but we will definitely talk about a few, and of course, there's time for questions at the end, so if people have more they want to ask or know, we are readily available.
We also have demos of our guys, and we also want you guys to play.
Yes.
We want 4 volunteers.
Which is coming up. We will be getting there. But yeah, so I referenced in-game mechanics and specifically design mechanics previously. Just a reminder, in-game mechanics are things that are immutable. They come standard. They are preloaded. Things like the plot, the rules, the standard rules, and NPC interactions, as well as any enemies that are written into an encounter. So those are considered in-game mechanics. However, the flip side of that coin is the specifically designed mechanics can also incorporate those things. I tried really hard in making this list to be like, yes, this is just what this is just in-game, this is just specifically designed, but a lot of things can also be justified as being specifically designed. Just because there are the base standard rules that through the guide is suggested to be incorporated doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for your players. So there are suggestions as to how to modify that, what consequences could be provided in order to shape and change behavior. Not on this list are in-house rules. So it is a very real thing that we have rules at our table at Let's Go Play. But that may look very different for what another therapeutic group might need in any one of their sessions. Those things can change based on the behaviors of the players. We have a very standard in-house rule is only the game master or the therapist may touch the board, because we've had kids just come in and smash, right? And then everything goes flying and okay, so what do we do? You know, it's not any big deal, but then you start eating up time, and we found that it's just a lot easier to have them use their words anyway and communicate in order to achieve and accomplish those things. However, in our older guys group, I don't have to worry about that. They're old enough that they're not doing that. They are moving the pieces appropriately and accordingly.
And for the younger guys, it is hard. It is really hard for them to keep hands and feet to self and not, it's very challenging because they're little things and they want to touch them. Mm-hmm. And I want to move my character forward, yes, but you have to use your words and say, move my character to the left or right. Sometimes they're not even sure what's the left or right. You know?
But that's a learning opportunity.
Correct.
And a lot of our players can't read either.
Right.
But that's
if you're 5, you're not reading.
But sometimes other players at the table can, and that's a fantastic opportunity to say, hey, why don't you turn to your buddy and have him help you? Or hey buddy, you could really help out your friend.
And they do.
Right, more opportunities to create positive interactions and practice and teach positive things. So here for this list, I'm going to go through the first 2 things, the heroes, classes, and the actions, and Miss Ginger's going to take number 3. But before I jump into that, I want to say that another very important thing, along with the elements for therapeutic change, the system that is created here is also the concept that no one hero can do things alone. They cannot win by themselves. The game is structured that way, created that way, to force socialization, to force players to have to work together in order to win. You cannot win if you just try to take down the monster by yourself. It is going to wear your hero down. You're going to be much worse off. But if you work together, strategize with one of your teammates, come at it together, you're going to knock out that bad guy really quick, and you're going to be much more successful. And that is a very key element in every step of this game.
Right. And for somebody who's autistic, to understand what the powers of the other person are, the other characters are, makes your world bigger.
Yeah, it is not so much about the I, it is not so much about the individual, it is about the team. And that is something that the therapeutic team has to facilitate for the most part for these players. They are very much focused on, I want to attack, I want to move here. And you will see in the video later on, I'm very good at redirecting these individuals to ask their teammate, what to do, or ask the team what's going on. Oftentimes, players will also say, "Hey, Mr. Dan, I don't know what to do," And I say, oh, me neither. Why don't you talk to the guys sitting at this table? I know exactly what they should do. I know exactly what's coming and how to resolve it, but I'm not going to just give them the answer. And that's a big part of it. So let's jump in to the heroes classes. And we are not actually talking about the 6 kids seated at the table for an hour kind of class. It is the classes of the heroes, the players in the game. So there are 6 that are standard, and we have up to 13 different types of heroes. But the 6 standard, the concept is they all have different stats and skills, and they synergize in ways that as they are communicating and working together and figuring out strategies, that they become more and more powerful. So that is the first part of really where is the therapeutic element there. It's the socialization between knowing your strengths and weaknesses and knowing the strengths and weaknesses of others and being able to talk about it. A lot of time that then comes into play with compromises. Okay, so I think I should do this and you should do that. Well, the other person doesn't want to do that. So how do we make it work for both people? How do we make it work so everyone is successful? And sometimes that can't be done immediately. And then individuals are taught tolerance and how to tolerate having to delay gratification a little bit, which is a very important thing. The other thing with just the heroes classes themselves, one of our in-house rules is that players have to pick from a hat at the start of each mission. Now, a mission may take 4 sessions. It may take 4 one-hour-long sessions to accomplish, but they will be playing as that same hero through that same mission, and then they will pick randomly to pick another hero. There's a dual purpose there. The initial purpose there is that it teaches them tolerance for failure when they don't get what they want, when they don't get to be who they want to be. It teaches them to tolerate that and stay motivated because the rest of the team realizes, oh man, if this player's putting their head down and not coming to the table, we're going to have a really tough time, and they are much more likely to encourage the player and bring them back. Because let's face it, I'm a 31-year-old gamer. I can be a pretty cool guy, but it is much more powerful when things come from their peers than when it does from an adult. So we even just see that just from picking a hero, that can be an interaction that happens.
And I'm not telling you my age.
Okay. And then the other part of why picking randomly from a hat is important is because we want them to learn about all the heroes that they can play as. Okay, so you're really good at being the medic. You know all the things a medic can do. That's great, but there's so many other heroes you can be. There's so many other strategies you could learn and work on. Why limit yourself just to this one class? But usually everyone hates being the medic because his thing is healing, but
he's the most important character, though.
I play support characters in every game, so I'm all about, and I've actually made the medic one of the strongest in the meta, but whatever. They don't know that. They can't. They don't understand. It's fine. It's all good. So, yes, and we're going to jump over, Miss Ginger, taking Help a Friend, number 3.
Right, so Help a Friend is an action that we have built into the game. And remember I said for our little guys, kids and teens, you can't be killed. You don't get killed. No death. That is not the same with the game for adults.
Sure, but, right. They're 18 and over. That's
fine. So if you get knocked down, if your character gets knocked down,
hit points reduced to 0.
You can be helped by one of your the guys playing. They can give up their turn to do Help a Friend for you. That restores your life points. However, we have had situations where because the guy who has lost his life points was playing rogue, right? Going out and doing whatever he wanted to do. The other players are like, nah, I don't feel like it.
I want to help you.
And that prompts a big discussion, doesn't it? Then we're talking about, why do you think they don't want to help you? What's going on there? What could you do to change that?
And
right?
while you are knocked out, it passes your turn at the table. Yeah. So if you're knocked out, you can't take any actions. And that is a very, they really feel that when they see it coming around. All right, now it should be my turn, and it's not.
Right. I'm done.
Okay, Help a Friend. Also, there's a mechanic built in. And I think I addressed it in a lot more detail later on, but I'm going to say it now just so I don't forget because it's on my mind right now. But they're in the field of behavioral psychology, which I have my license in. There are what are known as target behaviors. And target behaviors are what an individual is displaying that you don't want them to do. They are the things you are looking to change. However, it is not enough to simply provide consequences, the punishments to an individual to get them to stop. You also need to lay out those consequences, but provide them with what are known as replacement behaviors, the things you want them to be doing instead. And you actually want to reinforce that to provide positive consequences for doing replacement behaviors. So help a friend is definitely a replacement behavior. They are sacrificing an action on their turn to help another player. It either revives them, gives them 3 hit points if they were at 0, or if they already had hit points, it gives them a +1 on their dice roll. And if we're talking about a D6 system, that can get pretty powerful and it stacks. In return, they do that. They help a friend. If they have gotten far enough along in the missions, they unlock the ability to transform into a super powerful superhero, nigh on invincible, like absolutely overpowered for 6 turns because they've used Help a Friend 6 times. So it encourages those individuals who, okay, so this other person who was being a jerk, I don't want to help them, but you know what, I do want to have this very powerful version of myself, so I'm willing to come to the table and have that discussion.
And what the guy sees who is going rogue, what he sees is, there is a reward for playing along as a team member, right? So.
Yes, and I'll just point out at this point, yes, we've only talked about 2 things, and there's so much therapy involved. There's so much going on, so many beneficial things that can be employed at any given moment, even just with talking about heroes classes and one thing, help a friend. But if we move on to talking about actions, this is very much a stereotypical RPG. It's a futuristic one where your characters can perform actions on their turn, move, attack, search, talk, use a skill, help a friend. They have an ammo system, but it's not on these little demo ones here because we're keeping it simple for everybody. But that is where the meat and potatoes of strategizing comes into play. What actions are you going to take? What actions are your teammates going to take? Are you working together? Is somebody going off by themselves and going rogue? And like we said before, that's usually something that players are very good at saying, this is what I want to do. But sometimes we have players who they are working on being able to say what they want to do and to have that self-affirmation and
self-advocacy.
Self-advocacy, thank you. And that is a great way to go about incorporating that. When a player says, I want to do something, the game master is going to accept that action. That doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it, but yes, sure, you want to attack? All right, that's your thing. If that's what you really want to do that, all right, you really want to do that, that's what we're going to go with. And then that is something you can draw attention to. Hey, so because you made that decision, the rest of the players at the table were like, and draw attention to those things and transfer skills and have those individuals learn and grow as gameplay is just occurring.
Because what you're doing is you're processing their choice. If the rest of the team goes, no, don't do it, then you can talk about it, right? Then you process why they're making the choice and why other people don't like it.
Yep. Okay, moving on, we are going to just discuss some of the benefits of TdRPGs in regards to some very key areas. Would you like to go first, Ms. Ginger?
Okay, so obviously the first benefit is social. There is absolute social interaction. You can't play the game and not be social. It's absolutely a given.
Yeah, the TdRPG focuses on positive social experiences which are experienced with the group. So when they defeat the boss monster, usually the whole group is cheering and yeah, that's awesome. And that's a great opportunity to then come together over a shared experience. As we talked about before, it occurs when players communicate with one another, which could be verbal or nonverbal, and that is happening almost constantly because it is something that the therapeutic team is instructed to guide and prompt. Missions are also structured so that players need to coordinate with one another in order to win. The social element is intrinsic. It is inevitable. No one hero can win on their own. Motivational. Enhance motivation in the face of obstacles and the chance to learn from mistakes in a safe situation. The game is designed so that players will fail their actions. Inevitably, they're going to get a 1, or the difficulty of something is a 5 or a 6, and they're going to get a 1, 2, 3, or 4. And that is a fantastic learning opportunity for a lot of our players. A lot of our players get very frustrated or angry very easily over the concept of failure or things not going their way. but this consistency teaches them and provides the opportunities for the therapeutic team to teach them to tolerate that, to provide those coping mechanisms and put them into practice during sessions. They also learn from the other players, and you will get a player at the table out of 6. One player is going to be okay with failing. One player is going to be like, oh, well, I got a 1. I'll get him next time. And then you can be like, oh, that's such a great attitude to have. Wow, why don't you take a +1 on your next dice roll for all that positivity that your hero is harnessing, and really promote all those pro-social behaviors.
We have one little guy, and I mentioned him in the last one. When he even thinks there is the teeniest, tiniest bit of failure, he just, like, he's almost ready to cry. And so,
oh my, yes.
yeah, and so we talked to him about, well, what do you think's going to happen? How bad is this going to be? Can we recover from it? What do you need to do to not make this happen? You know, it's all about talking them through the problem.
And when we were talking about a safe space and a safe setting, that is both the safety net of the therapeutic team and the support of peers as well, that allows players to be okay with making mistakes because they feel like they are supported in that setting, even if it isn't thrown in their face either. Okay, emotional. Me first? Cool. Okay. Emotional is, we are talking about the emotions that a player experiences that can be both positive, but in all honesty are sometimes negative, and sometimes they are very negative. The TdRPG provides an opportunity to process negative emotions triggered by game challenges in a therapeutic environment with the support of that safety net. The presence of the therapist and the positivity and support of their teammates creates an environment that allows the players to manage their emotions and continue playing when normally it wouldn't be possible, when normally they would just throw up their hands, walk away, have a tantrum, have a meltdown. Players learn coping strategies and ways to self-regulate through practice and observation of others employing strategies or having a naturally positive disposition, like we were just talking about. Anything to add on that?
Yeah, if you do, I mean, certainly our guys have had meltdowns, right? They have gotten very emotional, very upset, and so then when that happens, the game master can continue to run the game, and the therapist can take the player aside and really help them work through it, process it. Sometimes you just need to let it out, right? You just need to let the frustration out, and then you can go back and join the game again. And you realize nothing bad has really happened.
Cool. So fun. S.N.A.P.S Heroes and the games therein were designed first and foremost to be fun games to play. Kids learn the most when they are having fun. That is a researched fact. It has all the standard elements that you'd find in an RPG and a little bit more for the scalability and flexibility, and can be adapted to the needs of various groups. The element of teamwork and overcoming obstacles together and the success that they will obtain creates solidarity, and it creates a bond between the players, or at least provides the opportunity. Players also really like to win. They like to defeat the bad guys. So when that happens, that is, as we've been told, that is the most fun thing. It is experiential. Players get to have experiences through gameplay that they might not get to experience in their everyday life. They are a powerful hero. They have all these skills and abilities and all this confidence and tremendous might in game. And a lot of players in the real world don't feel that powerful in their everyday lives. They also get opportunities to be a leader, and maybe in their everyday life they don't even have a lot of interactions with others. Oftentimes we found individuals telling us, the parents telling us, that this is really this is the thing that their kid does that gets them interacting and involved with other peers. It gives them experiences in being kind to others and helping others, in winning and in effectively communicating with others, which is all fantastic stuff that we want to impart to kids and teens. Anything on its experiential, Miss Ginger?
Nope.
Cool. Strategic. It's also there's obviously an element of strategy. You can't win alone, and you have to work together. That's not to say that players don't start by just trying to hammer away, attack. But there are a lot of players that come with creativity to the table, or it is something that can be learned. It's something that they attend to, that they pick up on, that they realize, oh, I have a skill that allows me to do this awesome thing. Wow, I didn't realize that, and then put that into practice in future sessions. All right, real quick, we got a few things just real quick to discuss before we get to the demo, and I think we're doing just fine on time. Another key area is feelings, and we're kind of differentiating that from emotions, in that emotions are what the player is experiencing, and that discussion, the positive stuff and the potentially strong negative things, but the feelings are what are happening in game. So this example, feelings for NPC, is that the players will oftentimes be faced with NPCs that are experiencing a certain feeling, they're feeling a certain kind of way, and the players must then resolve those feelings. The game master would ask the player literally what they would do if they were encountering that feeling.
And you're going to see that in this game that you do, whoever volunteers.
Yes, and those that don't will see it too, because
Yeah,
hi,
right.
audience.
Everyone will see it.
But yes, they encounter these emotions, these feelings, and oftentimes the players, when they do, they say, I don't know what to do. That is fantastic. We can take that opportunity to transfer skills, to provide information and ideas as to powerful coping mechanisms that they can employ, and then the game master will have the player role play that interaction. The game master will take on the role of that NPC with the feeling, and the player will be a hero with their heroic persona helping this other individual. And not only will the player then get that immediate practice, so they get the transfer of skill, they then get to practice the skill, and then they get to see it work in the game. And that is a very powerful element that the TdRPG is very often employing in order to meet and work towards therapeutic goals. So I think, yes, touched on the power of the persona there. Great. So that is in contrast, though, to the feelings of the player, in that we provide consequences for behaviors. Consequences can be good or bad. Players can have a behavior and have a feeling that could be positive, it could be negative. I shy away from using those words from a behavioral standpoint, which is fine, but that's that people can generally understand what a positive behavior would be, something good, negative, something bad. And we look to, provide consequences that make the target behaviors, the players not want to have them, but the replacement behaviors, they get positive consequences, and they do want to then be doing those. So in the game, in the tabletop game, it is very easy for the game master to follow the instructions of, if they do this behavior, take away a hit point. You can either with a swipe of a pen, adjust a pencil or pen, adjust their sheet, or we have tokens, so, all right, you got to pass over one of your hit points and do it that way. Or, hey, that was a great choice. You get a +1 on your next dice roll because I can keep track that, hey, you get a +1 to whatever number you roll. So keeping in mind that we have an electronic version as well, the way that system is set up, it is very much like the original Final Fantasy. During battle encounters, you get the monsters on the left, you get the team of heroes on the right, 6 heroes, but the 7th player is the game master. The game master is a player in the game that through a coded intervention system can enact those consequences onto the players in the game. So depending on how they are feeling, if a player is getting sad or frustrated, they would then enter through that coded intervention system. The game master can put the player into a state that changes their stats. It limits their actions, and the only way to resolve that is to use a communication system, which another player would have to access, select the right form of communication, use it on the player experiencing the feeling, and then in the game, a screen appears that provides the prompt for the game master to facilitate that resolution at the table. If the players are unable to figure it out, then the game master selects, no, they did not resolve that, and the monsters that they are fighting get healed. So players are very much encouraged and motivated to, oh man, I really need to figure this out. And then in addition, for doing the right thing and having the right behaviors, once that sad state, the frustrated, angry, non-communication state is removed, the players then enter a boosted state. So then they get that reward for making the right decision and coming back to the table. And that is just some nifty stuff that we employ in order to, as a game designer, I've recognized the difference between a tabletop game and the electronic stuff and still want to incorporate that because it is very powerful. And that brings us then to our live demo. So I'm gonna get this thing set up and we're going to pick 4 people or 4 volunteers would like to maybe sit in this front row a little bit closer. So please come on up. Sure. And the 2 in the back, sure. Fantastic. We can do, yeah, sounds good.
Where do you want them?
Just front row here,
1, 2, 3, 4.
because we'll have people whose turn it is come up and do the thing. Come on over. Yep, come on up. And Ms. Ginger, if you could just hold this for me while I look at the back of this.
Yep.
Thank you. I was told there's a HDMI plug-in. And hopefully it's plug and play. He's a cool guy. Help me out. Doing me a solid. Thanks. Cool. All right. So we have our 4 heroes that I'm just going to pass you guys the cards for.
The right color? Are we on? Okay.
That. Ooh. Oh, no, wrong way. There we go. And go forward. I'm going to use both hands. Hey, there we go. Great. That's the scope of the board in play for the audience to be able to see. As players, if you need to come up when it's your turn to take a better look, that's totally cool. I'm going to pass out these cards to you players. There are 2 parts to the card. The first part is the stats for your hero. The second is skill. They are color coordinated. I'm just handing them out. Actually, I'm going to do it this way because play always starts with Game Master's left. So you are the tank, you are the medic, ranger, and sidewalk. So I will let you all know that your actions that you can take in this version are move, attack, search, talk, use a skill, help a friend. I will definitely assist you guys. This is a very guided demo, so fear not. Basically, just tell me what you think your character should do, and I will let you know what the action is in regards to that hero. As you can see, you all have different stats. Your health points, those are obviously the hit points for your character. You reach 0, you're knocked out. Someone will have to either use a healing skill on you or use help a friend to bring you back into the game. Your skill points are essentially your magic. They are very limited resource, so using skills wisely is a big part of the game. Armor class. When attack rolls are made, you roll the d6, and you must meet or beat the armor class of whatever you are attacking. That applies when my bad guys attack you as well. Speed. On a move action, speed is how many squares your character can move. Range will be S, M, and L for short, medium, and long. Short is 5, medium is 10, and long is 15. We're using a much shorter, in order for this to all fit, it's a much shorter version of the board actually, it's like half the board. So whoever has long range, which would be the ranger, everything is pretty much attackable to you. Usually they also have a resource for ammo, so their resources would be their health points, their skill points, and their ammo. But to keep things simple, we're not including ammo in this demo, and you don't need to worry about the reload action either. So, we have our players, we have our heroes set up. As you can see, right, they are color coordinated. So do you guys all know the hero that you are on the board? Yes? Okay, great. So the breakdown for this mission, just to give you guys a little world building information. So this is a world far flung in the future. It is an alternate version of Earth where there is an abundant source of crystal energy. This crystal energy comes in various forms and it powers all your tech. You have a suit that is powered by crystal energy. Your weapons are powered by crystal energy. And in that way, we can justify that is how you just drain the energy of the enemies. It is not bullets that are making impacts and causing enemies to bleed and die. You are draining energy through the use of your own unique crystal wavelengths.
And no friendly fire.
And no friendly fire. No, we don't. I mean, it says a lot, though, for the players that are like, can I attack that other guy? That's
that
definitely...
would be really neat, because I can copy abilities, so I could steal it, if there was
Steal
friendly fire,
somebody else's
steal an
ability.
ability.
And use it against them, yes. But no, we are focusing on team building things up, not breaking things down. So that's a little bit of world building information. So what you have to know is that you guys are a group of superpowered superheroes, and you are protecting your planet from an evil alien invasion. So the forces of the Overlord, who are the bad guys, are the ones that are coming to attack and invade and take over your planet, and you are the group, the crack team, the A team that is sent to rebuff them at every turn. So for this current mission, for this demo mission, this is a forest that was undergoing some weird mutation. So your defense force sent out 3 researchers to inspect and figure out what was going on. However, the last satellite image that you had showed things reaching out from the forest, grabbing the researchers, smashing all their stuff, and now you are being sent to figure out what happened to the researchers and save the day. There is a high level of probability that aliens are involved in this engagement, so you are advised to be prepared. That's going to start us off with the tank. Tank, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
So, can you run through the actions again?
Sure. Move, attack, search, talk, use a skill, help a friend.
Okay. I guess we're searching through these researchers. I guess I would like to search.
Okay. I like how you looked at the other players when you said that. Because normally, it's just, I want to move. And to advise to search, that is awesome. Search can either be in the area in general or one specific thing. I will let you know that these tokens, you can see visually, these tokens are piles of the researchers' stuff that have just been all mussed up.
And do they give clues?
I
Oh,
cannot tell you.
a
I
good
would
idea.
advise that you commit to an action and then I can tell you.
Let's walk that path.
You know what, let's search that one in front of me. The one that's like 3 spaces in front of the tank. The
Okay.
red one, sorry.
I would then, at this point, for the, assuming kids and teens here, I would ask you to please facilitate a conversation for a plan in regards to those other piles with the rest of your team.
I feel like one of us should probably survey the general area while the rest of us investigate one particular.
Just do 2 survey, 2 overwatch. Yeah, and I have long range, so I can.
Yeah,
Someone plays XCOM. There we go. Yeah, me too.
We both have long range, so we should probably be the long range
Yeah, we
surveyors.
can
So
cover
you guys
that.
I'll move with the tank.
They're doing fantastic. This is incredible. So,
You'll take care of our gamers.
And
yeah.
Gamers, definitely. Right.
So, all right, you guys, you got it. You're doing fantastic.
Wait, I have to tell you
I don't
something
have to
funny.
do anything.
You guys are awesome because when we do it with therapists, we're like, we can tell you're therapists.
Uh-huh.
Yep,
We
we know
can
you're
tell you're
therapists.
gamers.
Yep, you're not gamers.
So you have a plan. You have a phenomenal plan, I'm sure. Now your action was to search the object in front of you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, it is too far away to search in depth. You would have to move first, and then on the second part of your turn would be search.
Oh, because I have short range?
No, so
You just need to move.
trying to keep
first.
things brief. No, trying to keep things brief. On your turn, you may take 2 actions. Actions are broken down into half-turn or full-turn actions, but we're just kind of moving things along. Not too worried about those specifics for this
So
demo.
one of the chosen actions is movement, so you have to move up to it. And
That's
then
a half
the
turn.
next action you have to do would be to search.
That's a half-turn
Correct.
action as well. Yes. So you would move forward. I know you have at least a speed of 1, 2. Okay, and you must now search the tile in front of you.
Yes, that's what I would like to do.
Okay. I'm gonna roll the dice for you. Just keep it simple,
Okay.
because I'm gonna be manipulating them throughout anyway. Okay. So you got a 4. That's just fine. As you are searching through the pile, you find a container. It is battered and beaten, but it is still structurally sound. However, it is locked. You have moved. You have searched. Your turn is over.
I really want to stick with the tank here. I'm gonna move my 9 spaces with me behind the tank and this, yeah, that one. That one. Oh, that is, I thought I was the
You're the medic.
you are?
You're yellow.
You're yellow, I'm the other one.
Oh, okay.
Gold, yellow.
Oh.
Yeah, it's probably because you didn't look at my card.
I like yours.
The card colors. are
Communication.
a little bit
Communication.
One more then.
To this way?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so that was the first part of your turn was a move action. You still have the second part to your turn. It would be at this point, I will guide you a little bit here and say that help a friend, although it is a full turn action, you may always round up. So if you take a half turn action first, you may always then perform a full turn action. And remember, help a friend would add +1 to a ally's dice roll.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to help a friend. I guess we'll try that.
The box.
The box when it comes around again. That sounds
That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is, yeah, you guys are getting it. This is exactly it. Cool. So that's a meta thing that happened. I'll keep track of that. You get the +1 to your dice roll. Help a friend. You technically get a transformation point, but that's not going to happen in this demo, so don't worry about that. I just gypped you from your reward. That's all right. And that is your turn. You move to help a friend. Up next, Ranger.
So I have a speed of 10,
Mhm.
that is, and so that means I could be positioned on the far side.
That's a good idea. We
And
each
you
take one
get one
side.
side
To put you where I thought you were when we started this.
So you want to
So,
be like right here?
Please move me. Yeah, you can move me one space back, I guess. So I'm a little bit long range still. And do I have the ability to search from, like, do I have farther vision because I'm a ranger?
No, but I heard you say, could I search? You could do a search of the general area. So
Okay.
those specific things, those tokens, you got to be closer
You
to.
would be like digging around through the items, which requires me to happen.
Okay.
Whereas long range, we're just basically scanning through.
Or
Because you have more range, would be a good idea.
you could do that, or you could use help a friend and a +2 to the tank instead of a +1 on the tank's next turn.
So I don't have to be close in order to
Nope.
help a friend?
It is a very much like an all-powerful ability.
Okay. I guess you're gonna try and bust open that lock.
The
Ooh.
whole thing so
Oh,
that I can
never
do it
mind.
the next turn.
But
Do I need enough?
It can
This
stack.
will give you major pluses.
In other words, if you rolled a 1, you would instead get a 3
Mhm.
if they
Yeah,
rolled.
if I-
Look.
if I don't-
So if you rolled like a 6, you'd have an 8, so you did extremely.
Yeah, but I mean, would it help me to search multiple items then? Like, what's the goal?
We've already found one, right?
Yes,
You've
and
already found one item.
Yeah,
to
but
answer
I'm
that
supposed
question-
to search that, right, or try to break it open.
are you?
I think you should try and.
There is a chance that the key might be one of the other options.
Oh, that's true.
It is, but I think it might be better going just move unit, search one, move as a unit, search the other one, move as a unit, search the other one, rather than trying to spread out and ball, in case. we
Yeah, I know, right? And I'm not doing anything, so this is great.
Originally, what I was trying to convey was you two would split into each little one while we were overworking,
Okay.
but your strategy works fine. What I could do is, in case one of the items actually will open that, is I have speed of 8, so I can make it down to that one closer to me and check that one.
Our
Yeah, I
diagonals
like that
still
idea.
just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Can't move diagonals, cardinal directions. You can attack on diagonals though.
Well, I can get you down to that, so it goes terribly wrong, so this seems fine.
Why don't I help him while he goes down to that other item?
Yeah, we both
Yeah.
have, also have long range, so we can pretty much cover most of the.
Cover the
Okay,
rest
that
of the
works.
ground.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I choose to
I like
help
that.
him.
All right, fantastic. And then that brings us to the cyborg's turn. You're up.
Yeah, I will go ahead and move down to the item in front.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, everything's mirrored, so I'm doing my best here. You are in front of it. You have a +1 from the help friend.
I will search.
Okay,
There's a-
there's a dice. Hey, all big money. Hey, a 4. On a 4, you search through the pile, and you find it seems to be an energy core of some kind. You don't know anything more than that, but it definitely harbors and harnesses some energy. So that is the end of the round. This would be the NPC bad guy's turn to do stuff. However, there are currently still none of them present. You do hear the forest begin to creak and groan and shift. The trees are kind of rubbing together and the bushes are swaying. It's very unnatural and it kind of makes you feel a little uneasy. But we're coming back around to the tank. What do you want to do?
I feel like that means something will probably come either this coming round or the round ahead.
They are very intuitive players, Miss Ginger.
Yeah, a little bit of foreshadowing. There.
Hey.
Yeah, and just as a note, I think I should definitely keep myself available for these upcoming turns since I am a tank and, can.
Worst case scenario, I do have that ability copy, so I can also act as a tank temporarily if necessary.
We have to increase the level of difficulty for gamers, Miss
Right.
Ginger. I'm gonna throw in some more bad guys. They're like 10 steps
I would
ahead.
like to say,
Yes.
I've played with GMs who force me to think like this.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you will either die or get no.
Get knocked out.
Well, that's like teamwork.
Yes. Yeah.
Can we move the box? Is that possible? Is it heavy enough to?
It's pretty dented and banged up. If you move it, whatever is inside, the structural integrity is holding, but it might damage what was
Okay, so
inside.
we want to open
Yeah.
it where it is rather than try to.
I will just say yes. You do want to open that.
Yes, I don't
That's got a
know
thing
what
in it.
take if we move it.
Got a hand raised.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna ask, are we breaking the rules because one of the options is talk? Did they have to choose?
Sorry,
Talk to an
that is
NPC.
talk to an NPC. That is talk like your character in game talks to.
You can always talk
the
to each other.
metagaming, yeah,
right?
this is what it is all about. This is the social skill part. This is strategizing.
It's one of the important things that we're supposed to communicate with each other.
And you're doing a tremendous job.
Okay.
So, Tank, would you like to try to hack the lock and gain access?
Yes, I would like to hack the
Good
lock.
idea.
Okay, a fantastic idea. So we got a +1, and we're going to say that you got a 5. So 5 + 1 is 6, which is just enough to process all the code through the power of your suit. And the crate opens, revealing an item. You are not sure what this item is.
No, I'm not.
You are holding it. It is handheld. It looks like it's kind of functional, but kind of battered, kind of beaten up.
So
You have a second part to your turn.
Idea. You could try using the search to see if you can figure out what it is. If not, we could just plug power.
Well, let's go find out what the other item is, or what the other
Yeah,
file
let's start
is.
with that.
And, but you could, how much would you
I don't have a lot, I've got 5. Thank you for your
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
so you
All that
have
armor.
enough to get, like, part of the way. to-
Actually, what we could do is,
What about you?
I could pick it up and move over.
I got it behind. I could move to it pretty easily.
What we could do is, you could go get the one in the corner. I can pick up the power cord and move over to where the tank is, to be ready to plug that in. And you can
And then
either
adapt
provide,
once again.
you can either provide bonus, or you can adapt for that, or
Is,
whatever.
is the forest the bottom area?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just everything's just,
So something is, there's something unnatural about the forest right now, so
Yes.
the pile that's closest to the forest.
Mhm.
That's definitely where we should.
We
move that
definitely
to.
gotta get it, quickly.
Okay.
It
It is still the second part's to the tank's turn.
I was gonna say, because actually, I mean, if something's about to go down, I should probably be near the forest, so I'm ready to provide that set of defense. So if I can move 5 spaces, let me see here.
You bring the item
I'll
with
bring it
you.
with me?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Real quick, what is everyone's armor class? I want to know who should be frontline and who should be mid.
Amazing.
I think I should be fine.
I've got 5, but if I use your ability, I
I'm
can't.
4, excuse me, I can't.
Okay, I have 6.
Seven.
Yep.
So
So you definitely have
you
the strongest
definitely
die.
have the
Yeah,
most,
so you should
but
be
I
able
can
to-
also use mine using your skill.
So to everybody else in the crowd, this is what the kids and teens are, what we were looking for them to do as well. Everyone here doing this demo is doing it fantastically, but this is the kind of stuff that gaming can do and that can be encouraged through TdRPG. Sorry, someone had a hand raised?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, can you search diagonally?
If you're close enough, I'll give it to you. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So then I've got enough spaces
So
to make it.
you
about
would have
5.
enough spaces to make it, but she's already used her half turn to
Yeah,
pass
if
the
I will
lot.
put
So
you here.
have to do
Do
it
you
next
want to-
turn.
Do you want to move down and cover the forest while I come down and search it?
You have enough movement to be.
He has 9
4,
full
5,
spots.
6, 7, 8, yeah. I can get there
Yeah.
too.
You
Okay.
can?
I'd
Alright,
say
so,
you probably step forward. I will come over to you.
Okay,
He searches and he keeps providing over.
Yeah.
I like that.
And-
Alright.
Tank is going to move.
Yep, tank is gonna move.
Fantastic. As soon as you go to move forward, you hear it crashing and thrashing through the underbrush. The things are indeed moving quickly. Leaves and twigs are flying everywhere. And all of a sudden, in front of you is an individual who is breathing heavily, ragged, gasping breaths. His
Ew.
collar popped. He's all sweaty and gross. Indeed, this is one. This is one of the researchers. You can tell by this researcher's facial expression, mouth aghast, eyes wide, that this researcher is terrified. And the researcher looks at you, Tank, and is just staring at you, waiting for some sort of input. So how would you deal with someone who is afraid? How would you handle fear? What was that?
Yay!
What was it?
Address the,
Yes.
yep,
Yes.
yeah.
So what would you do if you were afraid? What would you do? How do you conquer fear?
If I were afraid, well, in this situation, at least I'm the tank.
Mm-hmm.
And so certainly I've got a good defense,
Mhm.
have less to be afraid of, but if I were afraid, I might want to seek backup from one of my teammates. Have somebody with me so that we can assess the situation together.
Yeah.
Be prepared to deal with it, less risk, etc.
I love it. So what I heard there was resilience, that you focus on your power, what you're strong at, what you're good at to overcome your fears. And then you also rely on your friends, on your team, on the other people that are with you. So this is one of your people, one of your researchers. What would you say then to this researcher to help them stop being so afraid?
What can I do to help?
And the researcher says, "Oh, you're here to help me?
Yes.
Oh, thank goodness. You wouldn't happen to be the heroes of the Defense Force, would you?"
I'm here to rob you.
Oh no. Well, I've got a few twigs and leaves. He's got nothing else on him. But he is outside of that ridiculousness, feeling better. He looks at the medic and is now looking to the medic for some encouragement. Having them been threatened with robbery.
I'm here to rob you. Excuse me.
Yeah, no.
I can take your wallet.
I said something about helping.
Hey, it's America's healthcare system.
Not trying to make that point, but now medic, when researchers looking to you, what could you say to calm the researcher down? Almost there, you're almost
This
there.
person's panicked. I'm
Yes.
gonna just tell them, come to us. We're here to help you. Get behind us.
And the researcher wipes the sweat off of his brow. Oh, yeah, oh my gosh. And you see another moment of fear. He goes, oh my gosh, you're right. As more crashing through the underbrush, this time some monsters have appeared, having given chase to the researcher. He says, I knew I was running from something.
He wasn't sure before, but now he knows.
Oh yeah.
Walk into the kitchen and forget why you went there.
And the researcher, in you advising the researcher to come over to you, manages to get a few more steps before the monsters have accurately appeared.
Is the researcher injured?
You would have to probably search or talk in regards to that, and that was a free talk action for you. We did just end the tank's turn, and then that whole thing went down, which was kind of free action stuff. And now we are coming to your official turn.
Then I am actually going to give him a medic look over. If that's all right with everybody.
Oh, yes, yes,
I'm going
we
to give
should.
him a medic look over and
Yeah.
see if he's hurt.
So it'd be you just search. It'd be a general search action, a 5. He's got like your standard scrapes and cuts from having run through underbrush in a forest that's shifting and moving. He's got maybe a bruise or a bump. It seems like he might be down a hit point at most.
Okay.
I'd say definitely reserve the healing unless.
Yeah,
well,
I just, he doesn't seem to be like a trauma situation,
No.
so I'm gonna.
Emotionally, maybe.
But you've helped with that
The
already.
med kit fits emotional.
Is there a limited amount of uses?
Yes, I have
for your-
6.
Yep.
6
And
uses.
it takes a skill point.
I'll let everyone know that your heroes will level up. Most level 1 heroes come with 2 skills, but for the purposes of this demo, we're sticking to 1. Skills have various skill points depending on their power as
So I
well.
have, so it costs 1 skill point in order to use my ranged attacks. Sniping.
Yeah, but we're on the medic turn right now.
Okay.
So.
I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that case, I am going to actually move. If he's okay,
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to address, as I was trying to say earlier, I believe myself and the tank would make a good front line.
yeah, I'm going to move into. Does the med kit have a range, or is it like?
This is for kids and teens. You got wherever, anywhere, as long as they're on the
so
same
you can
Kill
board.
the magic bomb.
Uh-huh.
It heals them.
The energy just.
I am going to
It just-
yell encouragement at the tank
Great.
to assist them. Or wait, whose attack is it? You're attacking next, aren't you?
Mine.
Yeah, he's going to yell assistance at you.
So help a friend in me.
I also did hear, though, the tank was saying wait, and I believe
Yes.
the tank has something to say.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, because if you, well, you kind of ended up figuring out what I was gonna say. Only because, if you didn't know what to do with the rest of your turn, I was gonna say you could use to help a friend, and that way, we could get somebody closer down there, or, do something to address this threat here.
I would like to see, do we want to combat first, or do we want to try and figure out what that item is? Because that item could potentially help.
We could do
I
both.
think like a run and energy drain situation.
Yeah.
I
can
run and
cover.
gun.
Man.
You guys can figure out what the item is.
All right,
Yeah, so we
hold
can
on.
kind of
Like we-
progress towards it as we fight them.
All right, because my skill is gonna come really in handy here, so that somebody can get this item.
Oh
My
yeah,
s-
it's, they focus on you during.
Yes, that they attack only me on this turn.
Right.
So like, I can have them attack me and then have, one of
Yeah.
you, or I guess you would be the one with the long range going to
Right.
search the other item. You could go get that item and I could distract them.
Yes.
Yes.
Hooray! You
That
guys
is
figured
it.
out the puzzle.
So
You
Yeah.
got it.
I mean, with your helpful friend, you could use that for me to increase my power. Is that possible?
Can help a friend
Yes.
increase someone's armor?
No, help friend increases dice rolls. So if you are searching, attacking, those kinds of things, if someone has hit 0 hit points, it gives them 3 back.
Okay.
Also, I will say, just I'm really sorry for the sake of time, because we only really said 20 minutes to do this. That is the linchpin, though. So what you guys are going to find out is these monsters have a skill that automatically allows them to get a 5 on their attack roll. So with the tank using Built Like a Tank, the tank skill, all of those attacks would then be focused on the tank and be null and void. So not only does Built Like a Tank restore a hit point, it increases your armor class by 1. 6 plus
Right.
1 is 7. The highest
They
number I
can't
could
hit
roll
you.
on a natural roll is a 6. Oh, there's a 1, of course. So that is the strategy that is going to allow you guys to win. And you are going to win, and for the sake of brevity and time, we're not even going to go through the round of combat because you'll crush
Because
these
we had the
guys.
right idea.
Yes, yes, and that's the spirit of it.
But
How does
look
the
at-
initiative usually work in terms of
None.
movement? Like, does it go through us, and then once his turn ended, the monsters would move?
NPC and then monsters. Yep.
NPC.
Yep.
So the NPC would get a chance to keep running.
Yep.
And, okay.
Yep. And I would say that, you know, for the 18 and older version of the game, MedPack does have a limited range. There is initiative, but this is for kids and teens who sometimes counting to 10 is, you know, an issue. So we keep it very simple. But that there is the demo for you guys. So
And
thank
look
you
at
very
all you
much.
had to do. I mean, really, the whole conversation you had to have to figure that out. You really had to work together. You had to understand the other person's skills and abilities in order to make it work. That was brilliant. You
Yes,
guys did a
brilliant.
great
Very
job.
well done. Very good
Yes.
job. It's
Kudos
amazing.
to you.
This was scrap. There was nothing there.
Nothing
Yes.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate, it was
Uh-huh.
It was great!
This
Take
item
as close to the edge of the forest as possible. Nice.
and what the researcher ended up becoming. So this is a scanner that allows you to navigate the forest. This could either be used to power that scanner, or depending on how the stage kind of goes and how you interact with the researcher, it could be a grenade. So those are your two options.
Grenade for the monsters? or-
Yes, to throw at
Hopefully.
these three monsters
You
and
told us
poof.
that,
I
like,
plug it into
you
my
can
suit,
use that
give
as
myself a +1 to everything. I'm a cyborg. It's
Yeah.
I'm just out of spot.
Okay, so that is our live demo, and now I'm going to just break down the actual, like this actual mission here, because there's actually 4 whole parts to it. That first part was the landing zone, which I will talk about and get to, but then there's some more stuff involved in that. That being said, I'm not going to go through each of those key areas because that, again, it would take forever. So we're just going to stick to a couple and discussing the more pertinent areas as they come up so you guys can understand, oh, those are the elements in the TdRPG that are allowing the therapy to occur. And I will also say something to keep in mind is the breakdown. That this breakdown format is convenient for teaching, but the truth is that in a session, things are happening very quickly. I had to be attending to multiple conversations and watching body language, and that is the same with kids even more so, and then being aware of how to facilitate conversations if something gets missed, to then draw the attention back to that and make sure our voices are heard. And it keeps you dancing. So right, the first area is the landing zone. You arrive at a location with no enemies present, or NPCs even, and you have options to explore. That is done on purpose in order to get you guys to form a plan, to communicate with one another. So if there was an NPC, you know, talking to the NPC or battling monsters, want it to be like tabula rasa, like blank slate, where you guys need to figure it out together. Then very quickly you find a frightened operative. So we wanted, all right, social skills, great, and then we're jumping right into an emotional situation where we can teach the strategies and coping mechanisms and transfer skills in regards to overcoming and resolving fear. And normally, if I had more time, I wouldn't have just focused on one person. I would have asked everybody else at the table too, hey, how do you overcome fear? How do you overcome fear? And really get everybody involved in that conversation. And then last but not least, inevitably you will trigger a decision that results in a battle. So the trigger there was as soon as you uncover that scanner, the next time that player takes even just a step forward, you then encounter these monsters and you encounter this battle. And the battle is set up so that you have to strategize and coordinate together. No one hero can do it alone. You could have whittled them down. There was only 3. You could have whittled them down, but it would have cost you a lot of skill points and you would have lost a lot of hit points in the process. With the tank realizing that skill can make all of the enemies focus on the tank and being willing to employ that, I knew you guys had it 100%. That is an easy strategy to resolve that situation. I also heard, Cyborg, you were aware that, hey, I can copy the skills of everybody. I'm the jack of all trades. If I have another hero that can do a thing, I can do it too. So you can even double down on the ranger's skill, sniping.
I could have sniped. I could have actually made them have to travel to hit me.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, there are many ways to overcome the scenario.
Ping pong with magnets.
He's too far away, let's go! Quickly!
and you're just reverse kiting them the whole way. And yes, so the next section that you would then progress to is the forest maze. So I mentioned the scanner, and that is an item that has multiple ways to be employed. So you could use that energy capsule as a battery for the scanner. You could search it, realizes it's not functioning the way it should, and try to repair it. Or, depending on the level of function for the players, so the flexibility built into the game, if lower functioning players, that researcher is present to literally tell them, hey, you need to use this to get through the maze. To really provide that guidance for players who are really just down to move, attack, and
Like a 7-year-old,
talk.
like somebody
Or
who's
like a
7.
5-year-old.
Yeah.
Yes.
What if you use the power core as a grenade? Then would you not have that as a capability for the scanner?
No, then the flexibility there is one of you would try to fix it, or the researcher could fix it.
Okay.
You are always able to succeed,
Okay.
no matter what choice you take, as long as they are positive decisions, positive behaviors, good things.
I would also like to state, depending on the flexibility of a GM, is where certain other things could be allowed, because as I've been told to think outside the box, as a sideboard, I would have a lot of electric components, so I could say either hook the scanner to me or
There you go.
hook it to the scanner,
Yeah.
so that it can operate either as a part of me or sacrifice some of my own parts to power it.
And we're all in power suits, and you can just wire it.
Yeah, just wire it straight into the
That's
arm.
the improv of this thing.
Yes, yes. And I'm sorry, just real quick, a question, real quick.
Yeah, something as you were explaining earlier, if I could bring that up.
Yeah,
In terms of the pure therapeutic element, we're still trying to get that more.
sure.
Therapeutic elements.
Mhm.
I know having dealt with kids, running kids, you always have the kid who decides, I know what's right to do, and you're going to do that. The person who's going to try to take.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Yeah,
what
oh, yeah.
elements do you use to help control?
Failure.
You know,
Failure.
that's the time.
What? that-
Repeat it.
I know what to do. This is right. And
Repeat
they
it.
let them do it and be like, doesn't work. Hey,
Teammates get frustrated, or?
sometimes, but that is a great conversation to have. Then it's coming from peers too. Hey, you don't know everything, and that's, we have good ideas too. And then facilitating, hey, maybe you should be open to trying what this other player wants. And then what that other player is suggesting, that's totally the right answer. Yeah, absolutely. But it's very much that flexibility. And I do, in our previous presentation, it didn't come up actually yet, or I don't think it will, but flexibility and creativity in the regards to the therapists and the therapeutic team is huge. The more powerful your creative mind, the better this is going to go for you. Forest maze, right. So real quick breakdown is you're talking about GM flexibility. In order to get through that maze, not only do you have to use the scanner, but you have to go in with a strategy to be able to accommodate for individuals who get lost. And it is noted that the GM should be very flexible with, we get some vines and tie it to each other, or we have a system of signals, firing our energy weapons as a flare system, or whatever it ends up being, as long as there's something, because we want to then have individuals practice failing as they're moving through the forest maze. So inevitably they're going to get a 1, as every time you take a move action, you roll the dice, someone's going to get something low, and then we can put that plan into practice. Come out of the forest maze and you reach a mysterious mountain. It is oddly shaped in bright blue, and our players tell us that mountains aren't bright blue, and we say we know it's a fantasy game.
That's what the word
But-
implies.
Yes, mysterious. But they encounter a friendly creature that can be added to the party that is an NPC that aids them in combat. And that's fun. The players always like buffing out their roster and adding to the attacks that they can perform per turn. And then very quickly you enter the mountain and find the second researcher, who the feeling then that you encounter is someone who's feeling defeated and demotivated. And then the players have to process that and play that out with the GM, and transfer of skills and learning occurs. After that, they're then faced with the decision of, do you leave the researcher there? Do you advise the researcher go back, or do you bring the researcher with you as you move forward? The second researcher fled from the heart of the mountain, where the third researcher is located, but remembers the way to get there. So that is a compromise as a decision. That is what people have to do to figure things out and move forward with the stage. In the end, you will reach the boss monster. You come into the heart of the mountain. You see the third researcher. There's a strange energy crystal that is alien in origin. It is obviously plummeted through the sky, through the heart, to the heart of the mountain, and is what is causing all these changes. Then the boss monster appears, and the players are very quickly faced with failure again. the crux of it is that energy crystal is providing a shield for the boss monster, making it unable to be attacked. So the players then have to strategize and first figure out, oh, it is the energy crystal, and then figure out, oh, well, someone needs to attack it first, attack the energy crystal, and then the next person that attacked is going to be the one to deal hit points of damage to the boss monster. So players that are really good realize, oh, our support characters like the medic and the tank are the ones that should be attacking the crystal, and our offense characters like the ranger, cyborg can copy the ranger stuff, should be the ones attacking the boss monster. And that's the real powerful strategy that will allow you to defeat the boss monster. Even if players are lower functioning, that third researcher is there to provide them with those hints. So again, that flexibility is very much built in, but you can also use a creative element to obtain that. And then at the end, the team manages to overcome all these obstacles, save the day, and victory is obtained, which is tremendous fun. And they were learning and working on social skills all along just by playing a game. The end. Any questions? Yes.
As far as like business-wise, is this more designed to be a service that you provide, a franchise, or is it a product?
Yes.
So it is a
5 minutes left.
Yeah, it is a service that we provide at Let's Go Play, which is the nonprofit in media. However, through the Heroes Bootcamp, the introductory kit, it is made available for purchase. We have a website, and we encourage other therapists to start running social skills groups and learning how to do TdRPGs. I'm all for sharing it with the world.
And to run independently.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other question.
Yeah. Yes. You would encourage them to check us out and obtain it. We have been some other places and selling kits and providing
Texas.
this stuff,
We're in
right?
Texas.
But if individual therapists are interested, they can obtain it. There's not like a huge network or anything. Yes.
Does it come down to, so people who purchase the product, does it come down to them to provide further design scenarios, or can you acquire scenarios through them?
So it is.
Okay.
That's okay. This is 8. The Heroes Bootcamp is 8 1-hour-long missions. That each mission is working towards a specific therapeutic goal, along with all the instructions to then work on other therapeutic goals. If you are confident in your abilities as a therapeutic team, of course you can start making up your own stuff. You're going to have to anyway to accommodate for the needs of your players in a way. But my goal is then to start releasing those chapters very soon. So there are 13 chapters. They would be released going along as it is being designed.
So I think also part of the answer to the question is, if you can find somebody who could be a GM and find a therapist who would be willing to be therapeutic within the game,
Yes.
you need that team in order to work with kids and teens.
Yes.
That's the deal.
Effectively. I'm sorry, we're going to take a question in the back. Yes.
If you look at a lot of moving parts, like wondering from the geotherapist perspective, how difficult is this kind of therapy to administer versus traditional group therapy or like traditional play therapy versus how it's just being patient?
Yeah, so I would say the best way to answer that is that it is incredibly unique in how it operates, and part of the guidance provided to the therapeutic team is go through the materials before you run a session, read up on what's going to happen, what you should be prepared for, all the tips and tricks, be knowledgeable about that stuff. You don't have to be the verbatim repetition, but to be aware of how it's going to progress before you bring the kids to the table.
So in my opinion, group therapy is not always designed to be fun, right? So this is, right? So that is a major difference for that. The difference between this and play therapy is that play therapy is non-directed, and this is very directed, right? So we're there to help the player succeed. That's what we want. Play therapy can take years, and it is totally non-directed, totally run by the kid. So the problem that I think for us is to find therapists who want to work with game masters who can do this, right? Who can run the missions. We absolutely will support them, right?
I've trained people.
So
sure.
in August, we're going to be at the American Psychological Association convention, which is in Washington, D.C. So there are 12,000 therapists there. So if I could find some DMs or GMs, I'd be, set.
And also, the,
Yeah, pretty much.
the more traditional forms of therapy, a lot of times kids don't want to do it. They don't want to engage in traditional talk therapy. So it's a different way to bring them to the proverbial table.
And with young kids, you can't do talk, 5, 6, 7, you're not doing talk therapy with them. Yes.
So I guess I had like a cluster of questions. I think
Oh.
I'm gonna go together.
Sure.
Sure.
I'll be good. So I want to ask first the PowerPoint, if that is available. Like that kind of talks about, explains like all the therapeutic elements. And
Take my
stuff.
card, and I will provide it. Yeah, for sure. I've had other people request a PDF of it, so not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And secondly, I guess kind of goes into that. So do you have any kind of online presence, like, to advocate for this sort of therapy? Get people educated about it, like, people who could be therapists or GMs for this?
So I am the lead game designer, which, as you could imagine, eats up a lot of time, and also running the sessions. But I'm also doing my darndest to do the social media dance. But that could be a full-time job in and of itself. But we're on Facebook and Instagram, and trying to post and be active and do that stuff. But it is definitely a time-consuming endeavor to do.
Yeah, and I know that, with this being, I guess, sort of like a pilot, right? Like this is definitely a non-traditional therapy. I guess
Totally.
it would be hard to get therapists on board with it because, it's not really a tried and tested thing.
Well, we've been doing it for 6 years, right? And so we've gotten a lot of positive results from parents. As I said in the last session, one mother came up and said her son had been coming for 6 weeks, and oh my God, he's met all of his IEP goals. He's doing really, really well. Really, seriously, there are really good things that happen because of this game. So oh, cool. So I am in touch with the college because I'd like to get somebody, preferably not me, to do their doctoral dissertation on it, right? And to provide a clinical study. I would really love to have that happen.
And to then, through that educational system, teach legitimate educational courses in regards to it. Yeah, that is the thing we're working towards.
We actually really see this as a new form of therapy. Why am I ringing?
That's probably your alarm for the end of the time that we have here. But we got time for one more.
The name of the adult version and it's the
Legends.
adult version for sale.
No, that is in a play testing beta, not yet there. It is as robust, if not more robust, than the rules and stuff involved in a D&D type of scenario. So I am working as hard as I possibly can to do that, and would like to think it will be made available soon. But it is play testable. The games are being run, things are happening.
Real quick question
Yeah.
tying on to that one.
Mm-hmm.
For the beta testing, you already have everyone you need for that?
At this time, yeah, because they're all local individuals, seated at the table, playing the game. However, if you are interested in chipping in or providing feedback, please take my card, stay in touch. I'm all about the social circles and building a community of gamers and therapeutic gamers specifically. So I think that's all we got time for, everybody.
Thank you guys for your
so
time. We're
much,
so
everybody,
grateful
for
that you
coming
came.
out.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank all of you. Thank you very much. Of course. Thanks for
Yeah.
playing. I hope you had fun.
She might actually be interested.
Sure. Because